Hello there guys, my name is Jay or Gimpy Dwarf and welcome back to another episode of Space Engineers. So today we are looking at something a little bit different. These are a part of the DDC Corporation, the Devil Driver Corporation, but these are part of something I got quite bored basically. I am starting to build the carrier designs, but I've got like a little bit waylaid and thought, what about if like we just made some sort of civilian camper van type ships that are just for general travelling around via, well, you know, for civilians more than military-esque personnel. And I figured, well, what's the best sort of platform to work with? And I thought, more detail we can get in small ships. So here they are. I built two. I have a few ideas for another 4, believe it or not. Some really nice ideas and things coming for those. But these are what I've managed to build. The blue one is called the Shelby and the red one is called the Corsair. And these are just like massive fat lummoxes of ships. But I think they look quite nice and they are very sort of fitting. And I think they work pretty well as sort of ships for what they do. Again, they're built for the civilian populace, so, you know, they're not meant to be as high-tech as possible, but the features they do have are quite nice, and I like them. So, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get rid of these two here, and we'll get down to the ones that are actually on a platform. Here we go. So, we'll start off with the Shelby. Now, Shelby is, these aren't locked down because basically these landing gears, for some reason you hook them all down, detach them and they blow up, or sometimes you attach them and then they make all the bottom thrusters spaz out and then it doesn't happen very well and things blow up and stuff. So this is the Shelby. It's the first one I built and it only goes off of 2 of the Sage thrusters, but it gets to places pretty quickly and it's very manoeuvrable for a ship of its size and caliber. And the way you actually get into this is through the roof. I wanted to sort of start with a ship that could potentially be you can land it on the floor, but you can also land it on a roof and get in through a roof hatch sort of thing. So we've got a few systems on show. Again, it's not for tactical reasons, these are purely civilian, so any antennas and things are actually on the top of the ship and, you know, not out the way, but just, well, they're there basically. That's the whole purpose of them being there. So they're just on the outside, just to look good. And I've also got some wheels on the side for, like, I figured like a barge. If you guys have ever seen any barges or things, or canal boats in the UK that we have, basically they put tyres on the side or rubber, like rubbered rings, and those are there to protect from bumping into things. And if these things are going to be docking with a lot of things, then you want to minimise the risk by sort of doing that. So we open up this door and we drop in through the roof. You close that door and then you're instantly greeted with the living area. Now this doesn't actually enable for food or anything like that to be made or generated within this ship. It's purely just for living and sort of maybe a couple of hour journeys at a time. But in here we've got a nice bed with a lovely window. They're double glazed just for comfort and heating and whatnot. So all the windows here you'll see are double glazed besides the cockpit. So in the back here we actually have a fully functional toilet with a shower that you can actually stand in still and use properly. So we can just close that and then we're in here having a shower and we can get out, we can jump in the toilet and do all that good stuff. So it's a very nice sort of open toilet, I think, and when the door's closed it's still very open. You can run around, got a bit something there meant to look like a toilet brush. I took that from another thing I've spotlighted and I figured it was a good idea. So again we got some windows there which actually have the tyres placed over one of them. It's literally just like that because I wanted to add some sort of look to the ship where it has been, I don't know, updated and renovated sort of thing. So just to add that sort of look, so it's like, oh, so this has been tweaked and modified throughout the years. So we've got some cargo here, just some general storage. There's not massive amounts of storage on these ships besides in the connectors for the uranium, which is on the top, on the back. And as you see, we've got a few sort of personalised storage containers here, and then a lovely big window that we can view out of to the side. And I think these look really nice. So we'll push through to the front. Now in here, this is the main cockpit, and it's got a few screens. It takes advantage of the screens now being able to change up the look and everything. And we've got two seats. We've got like an offset seat, and we've got a central seat, which is of course for the main pilot, which is blue as well. And if we jump in the white seat, this is the co-pilot. Now we actually have some buttons attached to this. Now what this is you've got the signal broadcast, which actually tells up on the sign now that the signal is being broadcast out as an SOS frequency, which is actually the beacon on the top. Then we have a short range visibility, so just so we can make ourselves known to small stations and things like that. It's about 500 meters, I believe, the distance. And then we also have the long range, which is about 1,000. So I like this feature, and I like the screens and being able to use the screens, because you can attach them to so many different features now and say, look, this turns this on, this turns this on. We do have some light switches as well to turn things on and off within the ship. That turned off the light in here. I figured that was a nice thing to add just for the purposes of crew being able to turn things off and on. There are no panels within the ship to do that, it's just within the cockpit, so there's a lot of control from the cockpit in here. But if we actually go in the sort of main seat of the ship, we have another button which engages night mode. So if the ship is in night mode, well, it's in, flying in nighttime or darkness, so if it's on the dark side of a planet and you wish to remain in darkness for the crew to sleep in and things, we've actually got orange lighting which sort of dims the whole ship down a little bit. It gets a bit bright in here because there's a few, and I may tone down the brightness, but I figured it adds a really nice flow to the ship, makes it feel a lot warmer. And if because this is meant to be for the general consumer of space products, I figured this is like a nice lighting setup for this. And again, it comes up there with an X basically stating that no actual proper lighting is on, it's just the night lighting. You can definitely see the difference as well with the day lighting and the night lighting. It's very very toned down and very warm, whereas with the other lights on it feels quite cold, I think. So that's I like that feature. That's probably one of my favourite features. I've only literally added that onto this ship. The Corsair actually had it first, so it's very different. Now if we look at this screen and begin to take off, we do actually have a system on the ship where it tells you if you're close to the floor. So if you are coming in for a landing and you're getting close to the floor, which we are, that basically brings up a little error symbol, or a warning symbol as some people call it, and it just tells you, whoa, you're getting close, stop. The other screen doesn't actually do much, it's just there just in case you want to add another feature to the ship. So that's that. But overall, that is the first ship of the two that I've made, this is the Shelby. So if we close that door and just step off, so that's where the connector is on the back, that hooks up to the reactors in the back. There are 2 reactors fueling this one. I did tone it down on the Corsair just because I figured it could run with just the one. So this is the Corsair. It's very much bigger and bulkier than the Shelby, but it's still to the same sort of design with the engines the way they are. They're a bit closer together, the engines. It's a bit more compact. It's a bit more, I'd say, streamlined in terms of the shape doesn't change or alter that much, and whereas with this it does actually alter and jolt out and stuff like that, which it actually is quite nice. But I prefer the Corsair to the Shelby at the moment. I think it may change once I start tweaking with them a little bit more. But if we step on into this red and white lummox of a ship, we're introduced to the main living, sleeping and kitchenette area, this is what I was talking about, caravans and camper vans. This is very much like a camper van. I've used the sound blocks the alarm blocks to give this like stove effect, and then added these two here as the bottom sections of an oven. I just wanted to make something a little bit different, and this bedroom is quite nice actually. It's not like a bedroom, but when you lie in it and sleep in it, you've got this really nice you can see what's going on in the ship. There's not too many doors, and it's, you know, quite comforting to see what's going on outside. And in the top one you've actually got a light that you know, like a skylight you can look up at, so you've still got that same view as you would on the bottom bunk, which is really nice. And we've got a nice chair here, so like on the other one you can look out the window and see what's going on, eat your dinner on this sort of shelf section. Trouble is I'm having with these is I can't place anything past that. It doesn't allow me to go into the blocks to place anything else, which is a bit sad, but it works really nicely. I've got some shelving here as well. Of course it'd be better to have cupboards within a spaceship because of movement and things like that, but I didn't think that through until like literally about 30 minutes ago. So yeah, so this ship doesn't actually have a lot of doorways like the other one. It's very much corridors and narrow corridors, but we have light switches for everything, and we can turn a lot of things off and on. We do have lights for everything, so we do have lights for the sleeping area, which I think I've turned off. Yeah, there we go, so they're on now. So we have the lights for the top bunk, which do fade down into the bottom bunk, and we have the lights for in here, down in this corridor, and then through here as well into the cockpit. But before we do that, we do actually have a toilet and sink in here. No shower, because I couldn't fit that in anywhere in this ship. There was seriously not enough space for that. So I'm thinking about creating just a general module that I can add to a ship that is the toilet, you know, sort of the general sharing module, and being able to make these ships so they're modular. So you can take a section and go, I want this, and then take another section, I want this, and then just give it a paint, a colour, and then, you know, you can just use it as that, and it's custom in itself. So in here we've got the toilet, which we can close that door on. Again, it's got toilet and sink in there, and then in here we've actually got the cockpit. Now the cockpit actually has 3 seats in it. We've got the 2 sort of side people who are just communications people, and whoever else, you know, whatever else they want to be doing in that seat, and then you've got the actual pilot. Now these 2 seats have their features as well. So this one does have a long range visibility, but it doesn't have a short range. It's only long range because I figured the short range was a bit pointless. And then it also has the SOS signal broadcast as well, which is a nice feature to have. Very nice to have an SOS feature in a ship, just in case it gets into trouble, like with a boat or something. So with the main ship, again, it does have the lighting effect. So if I hit that, it turns all the other lights off, puts the cross on, and turns the night lighting off. Now the night lighting is very, very nice in here. It's enough to see, which is what I wanted. And excuse the banging, it's just because I haven't locked the ship down because of the obvious problems with landing gears. But it's just enough to see through the ship and see where you're going to go, and you know, so you don't fall over or trip up over anything. So that's what I was sort of looking for. There is no emergency lighting within the toilet. The toilet has its own separate lights, or you know, own separate light switch, just because of the sort of whole night thing. You don't really want to be using this dim light to go to the toilet in. It's very I don't know, obscured and distracting, I guess. So if we go back in here and turn the normal lighting on, the difference is noticed obviously through sitting in this chair. You're very low down as well in these chairs, but yeah. So again, if I were to look at that sign and take off, that turns off, and then when I go to land, it obviously just turned back on. Yeah. So if I just part this down, and there we go, set her down really nicely. So these 2 ships are very, very good for what I'm trying to achieve, I think. They look very camper vanish, very fat. Some people may call them ugly, but I think they're quite beautiful for what they do, and they could be quite, you know, like those like luggers that you normally see nodding around in, like, you know, Star Citizen and stuff. Quite cool to see like ships like this that are just generally based for people to travel in, rather than having to be in a military sort of profession to fly around in. But I'm just going to show you the movement of these now, because they do move pretty damn nicely. For a ship of their size, they get around pretty damn well on those thrusters, and their general movement is freaking awesome. So I'm really proud with the way they've come out, and as you can see, they tilt really nicely and move really nicely. I've almost crashed this one, but oh well, whoops. But yeah, so I'll fly this one, just delete this one now, And then what I'll do is I'll get back up top here. Gravity's throwing me down because these do have their own gravity generators on board. And I'll jump in the Corsair. Oh, copy. And I'll dump you down there. There we go. And let's jump inside and get in the cockpit. Now the Corsair I think moves a little bit quicker than the Shelby. I'm unsure why that is. I think it's just because I've added a few more gyros or something. But it moves a lot quicker and it turns a bit quicker as well. So I would say the Shelby's better for manoeuvrability, but in terms of looks I've still got to tweak with her because she's still quite flat in areas in terms of surfaces, whereas the Shelby is still very much bumpy, which is quite nice. So these are the two ships, guys. I really hope you've enjoyed them, and I hope you understand what I'm trying to achieve with them and why I wanted to build them. It's just purely out of boredom I build these sorts of ships, but I've figured out a use for them and figured out like a section of the DDC for them, which is of course the DDC Humanitarian Division. So it's like the general purpose ships that you would see, camper vans, cars as such, like just general purpose A to B sort of ships that can get you from A to B and do all that sort of stuff rather than be really, really special. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you for watching this video. It really does make a difference. And please like, favourite and subscribe to the channel. If you like, it really does help with the algorithms on YouTube to, you know, show the love for the video and everything else. So don't be afraid to give it a like. It's only one button. It's just down below me. And I'll see you guys later. Peace!